Hello everyone, today we want to talk about the amazing possibilities that the Xbox Series X has brought to our game.
But then they
Showcasing our
took a
near-future
chunk of
London
Tetris.
and
For
allowing our
real?
players full immersion has been a key goal for us. With the Xbox Series X, we're able to run at 4K resolution and a consistent 30 FPS. Combined with the ray tracing tech we're using in-game, it means we offer a smooth, cinematic gameplay experience.
60 FPS is not a cinematic experience, my guy. Cinematic experience is 20 FPS. I mean 24 FPS.
And holograms all
Get
bring the
it
colorful
straight.
neighborhoods of the city
That was
to the near
cool.
future. Our players will explore a
I actually want to play this
but
game.
unique version of London. It's the perfect place to show the power of real-time ray trace reflections, allowing us to bring a level
I don't
of
have a
realism
ray tracing
to an
card,
urban
so
playground
I kind of want to
never
like
seen before.
finance this
Thanks to
Xbox so I
direct
can,
storage,
you know, see the
all
ray
game
tracing.
loading times are dramatically reduced.
Because I know I'm not gonna be able to get my
Players
hands on
won't
the
have to
PS5
wait to
now
get back
anytime
into
soon.
the action. This tech also gives
I
you
might
a more
end up
seamless
playing Miles
world
Morales on the
traversal
PS4,
experience,
yeah.
especially when driving at high
Yo,
speeds.
that's big. Oof.
Anything you see in the open world will have significantly increased resolution and fidelity, including render targets, cube maps, shadows, textures, and high detail geometry. We've enhanced our graphical features, including ray traced reflections, improved shadow quality, and support for variable refresh rate.
For our team, it's about nailing both the vision of
About
what
that, I tell you
near
my
future London
place-
looks
my
like and
place-
offering a
PSN got hacked.
phenomenal gameplay experience to the
recover it.
players. Watch Dogs Legion will support smart delivery, so anyone who buys an Xbox copy of the game will get a free upgrade to play on the Xbox Series X. Watch Dogs Legion arrives to the Xbox Series X on day 1, November 10th. We cannot wait to see you there, and welcome to the Resistance.
Well, PlayStation 5 can output
There they are.
1080
Oh, man, they're still
and
up there. Having a
4K.
good time. Need a break.
So I'm
I'll
good
tell
to
you,
have
now
a
listen,
1080.
the recreation of London and Watch
But
Dogs
I might
Legion
end
is
up. This might be the
simply
generation where I
stunning.
upgrade my monitors
As is the
because
idea that you
I've
can play
been
as
gaming
anyone.
at 1080p for the past
Xbox One owners have been playing it for a
5
little over a
years.
week, and today it is a launch title for Xbox Series X and Series X.
I know
That's
Xbox
right, Larry.
supports
Big day. So here to take you on a
1440p,
whirlwind tour
but
of the
I'ma
game
just
are
skip that
Clint
and go straight to
Hawking
4K.
and Kent Hudson. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, man.
Congratulations on a big day.
Great to see you guys. I got to tell you, we've been talking here. I've been playing a lot of the game for the past couple weeks. I got it early, thank you. And a couple days ago, I got the update which introduced ray tracing, and my eyes popped out of my head. When I saw that playing on my OLED screen, I could not put the controller down. Now, Malik, you haven't had a chance to play this, have you?
I haven't gotten in yet. I'm planning on doing it when I get my console tonight.
I'm telling you, if you have an Xbox One X,
Hold on,
Series
hold on.
X,
You
or
work
Series
for
S, you
Microsoft,
have to
and
check
they
out
didn't give
this
you
game. The ray
a
tracing is
console
simply
early?
unbelievable. Anyway,
Wow, that's
and I
stingy.
kind of answered my own question. Which
How
was
you
for
work
guys.
for
Hey, what
them,
improvements can players
and
see
you
on
have to
Series
wait
X?
till launch to
Certainly,
get your
there's ray
machine.
tracing, but there's a lot of other stuff too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we also brought smart delivery. So what's really important for us, as you mentioned, that we released on the current generation, or I guess the previous generation of consoles, and for those who did get it there, you can grab it today through smart delivery and play on the new generation. Also, aside from the graphic improvements, much faster loading times. One of the great things about our game is, swapping characters, and
I wish
I
PlayStation
want to
5
be my
had quick
construction worker.
resume.
I want to be my
That's
spy.
pretty
I
dope.
want to be a beekeeper. Now those load times are super fast, which makes that gameplay experience
Then
way
again,
more fluid.
I won't
And
use
of
it on
course, the
PlayStation because I
graphics.
only play single
London's
player games on it
very
anyways.
wet city, very rainy, and it's really wonderful to see how much more life and connection to the world comes from that added layer of graphical fidelity. So it's a great way to experience the game.
You all pack the game with content, and of course, the visual fidelity, like you mentioned with ray tracing, is amazing. So I know we have a bunch of gameplay and a bunch of things to talk about. So let's jump right in. What are we going to be seeing today with the Watch Dogs Legion gameplay here?
Well, Play as Anyone is one of the big innovations, probably the big innovation of the game. So the video we're going to watch is basically taking a variety of different characters with different abilities into different situations and kind of showing how, no matter how you like to play, you're going to be able to find characters that have unique abilities and unique capabilities. And so we're trying to actually run through a some gameplay here of all kinds of different characters to show what the game has to offer.
And I want to point out that what we're seeing
GTA
here on
with
this
hackers.
gameplay, this is Series X.
Oh, that driving
fantastic.
mechanic look real
But,
jank.
you know, you're just kind of jumped into a car and now you're screaming on down the railroad having a
tracks.
You know what? I got to tell you, I got to use this trick to get around town. I totally forgot because there's no traffic up there. And I'll tell you, one of the challenges I've had playing this game is it's in London, which looks fantastic. But I'm used to driving on the different side of the road, so that's been one of the most difficult things for me. But look at this game. Look, it looks fantastic. I mean, you're seeing the ray tracing action. You're kind of seeing in some of the reflections. What are some of the other areas that we're going to see the graphical enhancements? Certainly, ray tracing, draw distances. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The ray tracing, the draw distances are all hugely improved. I think I think correctly the shadow fidelity is improved, and I was actually talking to one of our graphics programmers the other day about what it's called, and I can't remember the name of the technology where the shadows closer to a person's foot or to the base of a car or a post
I need one of those gadgets.
are very crisp, but as you move further away from that object, the shadows get fuzzier.
I'm sure
and
Twitter is going to remind you quickly. So.
The experts tell me, and I'm sure Yarko's really pleased at me for asking.
Can you imagine seeing one of those just like walking around your house and shit?
Great is, you know,
it's the Terminator.
Detailed shadows, like these kinds of reflections, they're not just there for graphical fidelity. They really make your characters and your actions in the world feel a lot more physical and grounded. Like it makes the space feel more believable, and the lighting model makes everything feel more connected in the world and makes it feel, you know, much richer.
Hold on a minute. I gotta
oh, that thing is big.
If you have your spider bot, you have to do that move. You can sneak up behind enemies, and it's like this face hugger kind of move, and then completely incapacitates
Nightmare
them.
is what I call it.
I love it, and that's
It never gets old.
I was playing with Jeff from our team, and I was telling him about this. He's like, "What do you mean you can do this?" And I heard him when he was doing it. He's like, "Oh my God, you can do that." Now we're seeing kind of the world here and in London, and it looks fantastic. You talked about playing as any character. Here you are in a drone. I want to talk about playing characters in a minute, but this is also cool because there's all sorts of drones you can take over in the world, right?
Yeah, the drones are a huge part of the game. I mean, it's an extension of what we had in Watch Dogs 2 with the quadcopter. But the drones are everywhere in London. There's a drone highway above the city. There's combat drones. There's ambient drones. We have the ability to take them over and do gameplay.
There's
like
news
here, you're
drones.
seeing. Yeah, this is yeah. There's news drones, Wi-Fi drones. This is actually a custom drone to this character. So only this character type can use this drone, which has a shock attack that he's using.
This game's cool. Oh, got him in the nuts.
And so this character can just summon this drone wherever they want.
What time is it?
But at any time, you can also just turn around and hijack drones from what we call the drone highway, which is above the city. And there are enemy drones that are in the.
No lie, I didn't think they were going to be doing this for more than 4 hours. I thought it was going to be like a 2-hour thing.
Overcome, but you can also, of course.
So when it looks like it might be like an all-day thing to like 5 o'clock or something like that.
Hijack those and take
I'm not
control
going to
of
be
them, or
doing
even
streaming until 5 because I got
turn them
homework to
against the
do,
enemy.
unfortunately.
If
I didn't have homework to do, I would have.
It's one of the major focuses of our
got my coffee.
studio. They did a great job with it.
And you're kind of you talked about it earlier, and you kind of mentioned it here, but you can play as any character, and you can go through and you can recruit characters. And I was going through the city, and I came across a bunch of different characters. I think his name was Bennett, and he was a drone expert or something. And I recruited him. I don't remember what his name was, but I'm just saying, is all the different characters have different abilities, and you can build up your roster to decide how you want to take on and become the resistance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, play as anyone is sort of our core innovation, and it's not just that everyone's playable. It's that every single person that you see in the entire open world is simulated.
Yeah, that's part that got more hops than me.
They have a a life. They have friends and relationships, and all of those relationships are tracked. So if Bennett has a sister, and you beat up Bennett's sister, Bennett's going to know about that, and he's going to like you less. Whereas if you see Bennett's sister being harassed by Albion and being wrongfully detained or persecuted, you can save her, and then Bennett's going to like you more, and he'll be more likely to or more ready to join your team. So it's not just that you can click on people and embody them. It's that the whole population is simulated to a degree we've never seen before in a video game.
Which is super impressive, because it's one thing for you all to literally give every character, every model in the game a background story, but it's also a whole other thing to give them dynamics and how the player can affect the relationships. I remember the unveiling back last year, and
I wonder how this
hearing
game is
that you
going
all
to be
were
with
going to
the
tackle
co-op.
giving every character different abilities, different background stories. I'm curious, from your perspective, what was your opinion when you heard like this is what we're going to be doing? What was the mentality behind that?
Well, it was a very it was a little bit crazy. You know, we looked at the first one of our big inspirations for this game was really the first Watch Dogs game. You know, in the first Watch Dogs game, I remember the first unveiling of that game. You know, back in 12 or 13
Watch
or
Dogs,
whatever, seeing
Assassin's
Aiden
Creed,
walking down the street and
but in modern
profiling
times.
someone and seeing, you know, like, you know, Bill Jackson, you know,
Did you
former,
know that Assassin's
professional
Creed,
football player,
Splinter
you know,
Cell,
suffered a head injury
Watch
or something,
Dogs
and then it
are
gives
all
you
in the
this
same universe?
really strong feeling that everybody in the world is a real person with a life and a story. And so when we sat down and said, you know, how are we going to take this game to the next level to get ready for a next generation players and for a next generation open world simulation and really take this and deliver on this promise, it was a natural question of like, what if all those things were real? What if all those people and their stories and their backgrounds and their lives were real? And they were also a really meaningful part of the game. And then if we start from there, you know, what is the game that we build around that to bring that to life? And that was kind of where we started. And this is, you know, 5 years later, this is where we landed.
Now, we're going through the gameplay here, and you can see you open up some of the skills for this particular character. But I want to point out is that certainly there's a lot of missions in the game, but you guys have created this world, this lifelike world, London in many respects it is. But you've also, for the missions, you've provided a lot of different ways to do the missions, and I think that's interesting. Talk about that in the game design, please.
Sure.
Run
so
away,
that's you know, high level. We call
away.
that freedom of approach, which has been one of our sort of guiding principles ever since the beginning of the game. So, of course, with Play as Anyone, you can bring anyone you want to it, play it any way you want to, but also with our level design. One of the big things we did was try to give the 360 approach to our locations as much as possible, so that, you know, if you go to a mission and you see what looks like the front door, great, you know, you can go in there, but you can also say, oh, let me see if I can hijack a cargo drone and fly it and come in from the top. Or I bet there's a back door around the back, and I bet there's also, you know, like a gate over here or a pipe I can climb up, and so you can really approach
This world looks nice
from any
too.
direction you want to.
They did a really good job.
You know, even so far as you know, what we call uniformed access gameplay, where certain locations,
Ubisoft hire me. I'll move
one
to
of their
France.
abilities is, since they have the uniform, they can enter that location with a modified stealth mode, and you actually don't have to sneak around. So if you recruit that person to your team, you can walk there like you know, like they're just showing up for their shift. Because as Clint said, people are simulated, so these people work at these locations for a period of time and leave, and so you actually can go in there with a modified stealth mode with your uniform on and pretend to be, you know, working there while you're secretly doing the mission. So
wait, so are you in a virtual realm or something?
No matter what kind of gameplay you like, if you like run and gun, or if you like stealth, if you like hacking, or if you like
looking
melee,
like that
you know,
aiming mechanic
it's all
is
there for
garbage.
you. We really try to support it as much as possible and let you sort of make the game your own.
And I can see right now the character that you're playing as is the hitman or the hitwoman, as the case may be. And she's got some. I haven't even unlocked or discovered her yet, so I need to get this. She's pretty amazing. Look at this.
Yeah, really tough.
Damn, that's badass.
Yeah, I mean, again, so yeah, we built lots.
Well,
of
no
different
lie,
cool
this
sort of
looks like
character
GTA.
archetypes and a whole bunch of abilities, and
just-
then we can
it even
get
has
and combine those
The
abilities.
GTA
and
running
the
animations.
Hitman comes with a weapon arsenal. He or she can use assault rifles and
Like this
pistols.
that ass looks
They
like
also
GTA
have
with
what we call
hackers.
gun kata, which is the ability to do these cool grapples and takedowns and throw people down on the ground and do cool, you know, finishers with their weapons. And she also, and you'll see she's got a combat
Even the way
mode
you
here,
take
which, you know,
cover
gives her-
and you
makes her
sweep
harder to
between
hit.
from
And
corner
it
to corner,
also, you know,
it
in the
looks like
combat rules,
GTA.
She automatically reloads
It's
her weapon.
honestly
So as you're
insane.
moving fluidly around the environment, closing the gap to people, you know, doing finishers on them, you know, reloading your weapon on the fly. It's a pretty powerful character for a really aggressive play style. You know, when that's a thing that kind of strikes your pulse.
The other thing I want to point out is you said something very subtle there that maybe some folks could pick up on, is that as you're playing as he or she, is that depending on how you play the game, like my secret agent that we talked about that I unlocked, it's a woman, but I was talking with somebody else, and theirs is a man. So the different characters, you know, even though your friends may be playing, you may, in fact, the hitman may be a man or maybe a woman. Who knows? It just depends how you play the game and how you approach the world, right?
Yep. I mean, the world is simulated uniquely for you, for every person who plays the game. You're going to find people in your game that no one else has. It's not like we offline, generated a set number of people and everybody's getting that set. You could find, the same person in different games. Like,
looks like I'm
the stream we're watching right now, these characters will never exist in anyone else's game.
Right.
So what you find is going to be unique to you. Now the abilities, of course, are consistent. So if you find a hitman, she, like Clint said, he or she's going to have, the Desert Eagle and the assault rifle and the combat roll and the gun kata, plus additionally other properties, because that's the roll of the dice, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be who they are. It's going to be completely unique to your game, and that's where we find people developing a real attachment to their characters. Like people they're like, oh my gosh, that person looks like my high school gym teacher, but they also come with this really sweet shotgun. That's weird. I guess I'll play them. So the game is full of those anecdotes.
That last example was one that probably hit close to home. That's interesting. Now we're looking here. I know we talked about the location, especially the climate informing like what you want to do in the game. And as we go through here, I'm curious with the pick for London. The Watch Dogs 1, we had Chicago. Watch Dogs 2, we had San Francisco. How big is the map compared to the previous games, and what was, again, some of the things that made you choose London?
So, the map is about the same size. We didn't want to, those maps are really big, but London is a very, very dense city, much denser than the San Francisco of Watch Dogs 2, denser than the Chicago of Watch Dogs 1, and much more detailed, much higher fidelity of detail, narrower streets, lots of pedestrian traffic, lots of vehicle traffic.
Looks like GTA with hackers.
The choice of London was very much a reflection of our desire to make play as anyone innovation as meaningful as possible.
GTA with hackers.
London's one of the most diverse cities in the world. It has over people.
Like even the
over
running
300
animations, the way they can cover.
Call it their home. Over 180 different languages are spoken there. We spent a ton of time on the ground researching the city. Talking to all kinds of different people with behind closed doors access, going into these, not necessarily open to the public locations, and really getting to know the city. And we really felt like when we were trying to decide where we would set the game, if we were going to do play as anyone, we wanted to choose a city that had a really diverse population. If rather than a homogenous population, it's less interesting to play as anyone if everybody's kind of the same, right? So London really brought this opportunity to make the most of our innovation, and we're really proud of the diversity you can see in the population.
And not only that you can see, but I noticed in the characters that you come across and that you play as and with, is the accents.
Did you need to do it a second time? He didn't deserve that.
You get North London, South London, Cockney. You get all the different, just London, and then of course you mentioned all the folks that may not be from there that have resettled there, and it's amazing what you guys have done there. It feels so alive.
Yeah, that was a big investment for us. We not only have a huge voice cast to make sure that as you said, the voices are authentic to the people that you find. We actually created some proprietary technology that actually lets us take similar, the same voice actor and the same voice performance.
I definitely want to get
modulate it and do format.
Okay, looks like I gotta ban somebody.
All right, hold up. To turn one performance into 2 or 3 to the point that
goodbye. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming through. I love you all. Thank you.
And you don't realize it because we've changed it so much. It's more than just simple pitch shifting. It actually changes the voice.
Right.
But the other thing
looks like you beat
is
me
it's
to
not
it.
just voice acting. It's not like we got a bunch of people to come in and just read the same scripts over and over. We actually crafted personas. So a voice actor is actually mapped to a personality and a way of dealing with things. So if you play missions and do cutscenes with different characters, you're going to get a different take. Some people might be really sarcastic and funny. Some people might be really grim. Some people, might
I forgot I had mods on this channel.
Like hesitant about the situation or really serious. And so it's beyond just mixing up the voice acting. It's actually that you develop an attachment to these characters and actually speaking and saying different things in different scenes that really just kind of goes to that extra level.
We've seen some of the gameplay.
I want to know how the co-op is going to be because I would love to play this game with other people.
We saw the Hitman or the Hitwoman earlier. The thing about Watch Dogs is you can really play it any way you want. Whether you
get body! Oh my god, yo, Hit Girl.
The
Hit Girl, that's gonna be my character.
Up to the player, right?
She's cool as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So right now, this character is a hacker. She's a hacker specialist, and so she's
a hacker
a couple of
specialist
really,
and
cool
a
abilities.
professional
She has,
assassin.
what we call
Like
viral hacks.
she's doing
which
all
is
these
kind of
crazy
an upgrade
stuff.
on all of the hacks in the game, where if you, instead of just pressing the button to like jam someone's weapon like we saw a second ago, she can hold the button and that will
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
other people
When I play this game, I'm just gonna
and,
explore
I
London
actually
and be like, yo,
discovered this
I've been to
strategy
London.
that you're about to see in this
I've
video
never been to London.
while I was playing the game, probably for the third or fourth time during development, and I was like, man, if you take a hacker into this drone fight that she's about to get into here, and you have those viral hacks unlocked, you can use the betray hack, and it will propagate to multiple enemy drones and betray them all.
Right.
So all these drones that are being sent against you end up switching over to your side when your hack goes into effect. So like that's why I when I played this section, that's what I was really trying to focus on. So again, yeah, all the different characters have these cool abilities, and there's so many different ways to play. You might be like, oh well, what if I
wait a minute, I don't have that ability yet on my spider bot.
Ability envy here.
Wow.
Looks like I'm
as
finally
you
gonna
play
play a
through the
Watch
game,
Dogs
and
game.
you unlock new characters with new abilities, or you unlock new gadgets through the tech tree and you upgrade them. You start to come up with new strategies and think of new ways of playing. And so it's not just freedom of approach. There's also a certain element of expression and player expression here, and how you want to play and how you want to show off your strategies and your skills and your abilities. That's one of the things that really keeps me continually engaged with the game.
And I think that's great. I mean, for players who are going to be jumping into the game, I think it really sounds great that you, as someone who worked on the game, are still discovering new ways to tackle missions.
Can I be a part of this?
That's going to be awesome for replayability.
Let me play test your game.
We take out a bunch of these people who are just working for people. Let's talk about the balance between, when you are tackling a mission, whether you, go in as just a person or whether you use drones. What's the balance between abilities and tech here?
It's honestly, like, I know we keep saying this, it sounds a bit cliche, but it's honestly up to you. Like this, we could have played this scene with someone who had the AR cloak, which lets you go invisible, and they never even know you're here. You're playing a cat and mouse game. Obviously, we're seeing like the heavy hacking approach. You could have brought somebody who has their own personal combat drone. You could have brought somebody who has unlocked all of the drone hacks in the game and is jumping from drone to drone, hijacking them, turning them against each other. One of the things that we really, really, really wanted to focus on was never getting into this lock and key thing where we're like, okay, this is a hacker mission, and you need to go recruit a hacker because we scripted a bunch of gameplay for a hacker that's only good. Like no, it's just sort of uniform challenges for everybody, and we really want to say, if this is how you want to play, if this is who you want to play, you can succeed, you can come and have a good time, and we want the game to cater to all the play styles.
Yeah, and it's interesting we're seeing this battle with the drones, but there's so much
Battle of the
verticality to the game. Of
Terminators.
course, you're going to get that with some drone action.
Skynet is out
but
to
we're
get
also
us.
seeing a lot of these little nooks and crannies that you can fly into or jump into to hide and break the line of sight. I love seeing what you guys have done with this, the stealth. And I go back to one of the original stealth games that I played was another game of Ubisoft, which is Splinter Cell, and just seeing how it's evolved.
Speaking of Splinter Cell, can we get another Splinter Cell game,
It just
please?
sense how you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
After playing, what was
it's not just,
Conviction?
Ken already mentioned like hacking and
It was
going
awesome.
in guns blazing or using drones, remoting. Of course, stealth is another strategy.
I've been dying
in the game,
for another
sure.
Splinter Cell game.
There are characters that are have quieter footsteps. There are characters that have other hacks or abilities that can give you more, can distract people more, can jam their weapons. We've also built a melee system, and that was a really important thing for us when we went on our first trip to London, and we kind of realized.
Did you get into some bar fights? Is that what happened?
It's like, yo, we needed a fighting system for when we go to London. We gotta be
pretty
prepared.
common knowledge, but you don't realize it until you're on the ground, and you kind of realize that the police there aren't carrying guns typically, right? And so we're like, well, what are we going to do if we're running around London causing all this mayhem? We can't just give the cops guns. That wouldn't be authentic to our version of London. So we created Albion, who are, this very authoritarian private military company. But at the same time, we also realized it would probably be appropriate to the world if we had a melee system. And so we have a melee system in the game. And why that's important for stealth is it means that if you go into a location, even one that's guarded by Albion, they won't go hot with guns unless you pull out a weapon first.
Yeah.
There are some situations where they'll still go hot if they've seen you beat up 15 guys or whatever. Like if they realize that you're a real problem, they'll still give you a warning and raise their weapons. But in general, you can try to be stealthy, and then if you get caught, you know, it's not like one guard sees you and then starts shooting, and now you have to murder everybody in the building, right? The guard will see you, and he'll run over and engage you with melee.
I'm not gonna lie,
him, then you can cloak
some of those reflections
cover everything up, and
fake.
then resume.
It's like too mirrored.
Recover back into stealth. So
yeah,
it's not
need
as
to blur that a
binary
little
and
bit.
fragile. It's a state that you can go back into. Here we'll see a spy.
This is my favorite character. I love their abilities. You saw the cloaking. It was kind of a DB9-esque kind of vehicle. This is the one that something happened in the game, and I kind of lost her for a little bit. So I'll just say that. I don't want to give any spoilers. But I adore this character. I'm having so much fun, and I urge you to spend time.
That's right. If you lose the character, you lose him forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I believe.
One of the classic. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, I mean, if we're
you get to use the queen as one of the hackers.
Lit. You got to pick James Bond, or I guess Jane Bond.
Yeah.
In this case, strategy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just having a secret agent and having some of those classic abilities and some cool stuff there is really good. So
absolutely. Now I understand.
The queen be like, yo, I'm a hack you royalty.
That we're going to talk about is the hooligan. How would you describe the hooligan for those who are going to be going with that?
Is this where the fighting comes in?
I think the hooligan might technically be the one. It might be my turn in the question thing, but Clint loves that character so much. I think I should let him talk about that.
Right.
The hooligan is another, you know, it's another character that I discovered kind of late in the development cycle. In fact, I think the game might have already been live before I started ranting to Kent about, like, oh, I started playing the game with a hooligan and I love it. So this is a character who's
who's a
football hooligan and tends to be kind of a
that's me. No,
guy or girl.
Are you dumb?
And they have a couple of abilities. One of them is that they can chug a beer, and that makes them tougher in melee. And it's great because they pull up this beer out of their pocket.
London.
And then they give their little battle cry, and they can call their friends, and then a bunch of other hooligans kind of show up out of the crowd, and they'll run in there and they'll fight alongside you. And it's pretty.
That's so sick.
It can be pretty goofy, like running in there and you're beating up a guy, and then you see your guys running in and beating up other guys. But there's some sort of like this sort of ridiculous joy of bringing your football team buddies to go and beat up the authoritarian menace in a construction
hack the
site.
planet. I need a PC mod where someone makes Sombra a skin,
we're seeing the spy here,
so I can play this as Sombra.
Is that we've got. We talked about ray tracing, we talked about the graphics, we talked about the fast loading. I mean, these are things that really add up to a new type of gameplay. So I urge you, if you had a chance to play Watch Dogs already, and you've been playing on your Xbox One X, when you play it on your Series X or S, you're going to see here's your hooligan. You're going to see a pretty substantial upgrade. Actually, I need to stop right now.
Here we are, the hooligan's on screen.
Look at this, and he's got his own emotes. Oh yeah, this is
the liquid courage is real in this one.
Yep.
And the mullet. I mean, you guys nailed everything about it.
Is he drunk?
This guy's such a goofball. Again, I was just playing the game at the office, and we're like, okay, we got to catch for some footage. So I was like, okay, I'll go. Oh, there's a hooligan, and I recruited him. But again, you don't always know what you're gonna get. And I was like, this guy is perfect. And I gave him this helmet, and I think there's a scene here where he does this crazy headbutt takedown, where he headbutts the guy in the face with his metal helmet. I don't know. He's so over the top. He's got this brazen sort of British
unless they do a crossover event to get some. Yeah, that'd be
crazy. They're just mates, jumping in there.
I'd be Sombra all day.
These armed Albion guys and throwing punches.
And I want
to
point out that he's got a mask on here. Because sometimes when you go into areas that you're not supposed to, you have to wear a mask. And you've got a bunch of different masks that you can put on. So this one isn't particularly hooligan, is it?
No, this is. I actually think this is.
This guy is so weird.
A mask that comes from For Honor. So we have some, cool masks that refer to some of our other games. And
what is it, Liu
Kang?
Yeah,
we should see if the For Honor guys can give us one of their cool helmets. And I think they gave us this one. I liked it because this guy's a Southern football fan. And he's got the yellow and black, and I saw this mask, this big pot helm that he headbutts that person in the face with.
It's actually a perfect mask for him.
It's a perfect mask. Yeah.
So that looks
He has hands of
fantastic.
steel.
Anyway.
He punched him
it's
so hard through the
great.
helmet, he
I'm
bled.
kind of fascinated by this. I think this is going to be the first person that I recruit a hooligan for sure. Now, moving on to what we can expect when players are jumping in today. Any other unique gadgets? Any other callouts you wanna tell the players as they get ready to jump in?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Blindsided me with that one.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been ranting about my favorite characters. What's your favorite one, Kent?
Oh my gosh! Now I'm on the spot. I actually, unfortunately, we saw it, but I really, really like the hacker character with the viral hacks. I also surprisingly love the Hitman because I usually am more of a stealthy player, but like there's something so visceral about that character. But honestly, to me, the real joy of the game is built. You can have up to 40 people on your team, and so building this huge array of surprising people. I mean, we've got all kinds of people we didn't even show, like the beekeeper and the getaway driver and all these like archetypes. And basically the idea that like you go to a scene, you're like, you know what, who'd be perfect for this job? I'll just make up a name. Malik. I got to bring in Malik for this one because he's got some ability that we might not even notice in the game, because even as developers we're still discovering stuff. We still, when we're playing, we take screenshots and send it to each other in Teams chat like, holy crap, look what I just found. So like